Good evening everyone, welcome to VENKANNA ENGLISHGURU. We are talking about Victorian period and we are dealing with writers of Victorian period. Today we are going to talk about two authors. The first author is George Bernard Shaw and the second author is Robert Louis Stevenson. So first we'll be dealing with G.B. Shaw. G.B. Shaw, George Bernard Shaw, very important writer, and when we read the play like St. John, and which is very important to know something about this writer. George Bernard Shaw was born in Singe Street in Dublin, Ireland, Irish writer, and parents' name George Shaw. He was an unsuccessful grain merchant and his father, and sometimes civil servant, and Elizabeth Shaw, mother. And he died on 2nd November 1856 and 1950. Died at the age of 95. And he was one of the important writers who had a long lifespan. And he was an Irish writer, very important. Irish writer, G.B. Shaw, Oscar Wilde, Samuel Beckett, Eugene Ionesco, Arthur Symonds, and Lionel Johnson, Lady Gregory, Oliver Goldsmith, Edmund Spenser, and all these were considered to be popular Irish writers. Sometimes you will also get a bit, who of the following is not an Irish writer? Very important. Next. And he was a co-founder of London School of Economics, and he was an essayist, novelist, and short story writer. He composed 5 novels, 5 popular essays. One of the popular essays is The Quintessence of Ibsenism. And how his first and profitable writing was music, and he was much interested in terms of music, composing music, but as he had a lot of interest towards writing, he became a popular dramatist rather than a musician. Shaw, what are the writings? What are the themes of Shaw? What are the broad themes of G.B. Shaw? Nearly all his writings address social problems. The kind of social problems what Thomas Hardy, Charles Dickens, W.M. Thackeray wrote in terms of novel, he composed in terms of play. Next, with a vein of comedy, and that is why his plays are considered to be social comedies. And his plays are considered to be, my friends, social comedies, and which makes their stark themes more palatable. Next, and he also wrote a lot of plays on education, marriage, religion, government, health care, and class privileges. Very important one, as he gives a lot of priority for health, education, marriage, religion, whatnot. Every issue he was able, and he spoke about language in the popular play Pygmalion, where there is a character like Professor Higgins. The exploitation of working class people again, and his writings, his plays were also based on exploitation of the working class people. Ardent socialist he himself assumed to be a socialist, and he was a popular communist in terms, and gave priority for, as he was on par with on the side of these working class people, wanted to be a socialist, wanted to be a communist, wanted to have democratic system in the society. And Shaw wrote many brochures and speeches for the Fabian Society. Fabian, it's just like Raymond's Club, Irish Dramatic Theatre. Next, when we also talk about something like, once he became an accomplished orator, another important concept is accomplished orator, and where he was able to talk about equal rights for men and women. Orator usually speaks a lot, a public speaker, and as a public speaker he was able to write literature, talk about rights of men and women, and elevating abuse of the working class people. What are the abuses of the people and working class people? He wrote literature on that. Next, rescinding private ownership of productive land. Today you see socialism, communism is all about that. the land, the productive land is only in the hands of a few people, and this needs to be changed by socialist or communist, and his literature was on that. Next, promoting healthy lifestyles, very important my friends, his age 1856 to 1950. He had a very wonderful lifestyle. He gave a lot of period. He proposed that we need to cultivate the habit of having vegetarianism rather than to non-veg. And he says, life force which is going to change your fate, not the fate that is written by the God. So if you want to protect your health, it is in your hands. If you want to, because when you expand your life only, you will be able to see the glimpses of the world. What do you do by dying yourself at a very early young stage? Because you need to lead your life for a long time so that you will be able to see the world. You will be able to see the wisdom of the world. That's what he talks about. Married Charlotte Payne, Townshend, a fellow Fabian whom he survived. She died there at 94. Next, from chronic problems, see, he did not have any chronic problems because of falling from a ladder. He fell from a ladder, hence he had chronic problems and he succumbed to death. But he could have lived for more than 10 to 15 years if this had not happened. That's what he talks about, promote your healthy lifestyle. Next, he is the only person to have been awarded both Nobel Prize for Literature and Academy Award, Order of Merit. So, the first writer, first dramatist who was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature, Order of Merit and Academy Award and knighthood. See, all that at a very young stage he was able to receive all these awards because and for his contribution to literature. He was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925 after he composed the play St. John in 1923. And people considered that as he composed St. John, hence he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature. Next, and his play Pygmalion, which is produced in the form of movie with the same title, because of that he was awarded Academy Oscar Award. He was the only writer, only dramatist, only English writer who was awarded both Nobel Prize, Oscar Award. My friends, remember NET bit. Several times it was asked. Nobel Prize for Literature was awarded to G.B. Shaw in 1925. Who was the only writer who was awarded both Oscar and Nobel Prize? G.B. Shaw. Who usually writes lengthy prefaces to his plays? G.B. Shaw. And who is the greatest dramatist after Shakespeare? G.B. Shaw. Like that he will get very popular aspects. Shaw refused all other awards and honors, including the offer of a knighthood. He rejected the offer of a knighthood from the British government. Next, what are the popular novels? And his first novel, Immaturity. And the second one, and you can see, and as a whole he composed 5 novels. And Cashel Byron's Profession, second one, Unsocial Socialist, third one, Love Among the Artists, fourth one, The Irrational Knot, fifth one, and the first one, Immaturity. Very 5 novels that he composed, but he was not able to he did not receive good acclaim from his readers because of his writings of novels. And play is very important. What are the plays that are composed by G.B. Shaw and what are the themes? Shaw as a whole, he was able to write 63 plays, very important. How many plays are composed by G.B. Shaw? 63, Shakespeare 38, remember. 63, and his output novel as a pamphleteer, essayist, private correspondence, and all these are his critic and all. And he went on to write 63 plays, most of them full-length plays. Full length. According to classical literature, according to Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, or neoclassical writers or Elizabethan writers, every drama can be produced in 5 acts. Same thing that he followed. That's what full length. And most of his plays were first performed in United States and Germany, later in England. So his plays were first performed in US, later in Germany, before they performed in England. That's the thing, very important one. Who performed His plays first in US and Germany, later into English, J.B. Shah. Who published his plays, most of his plays at French, later in England or Ireland, and Oscar Wilde and this fellow Samuel Beckett. These are commonly repeated bits as part of set or net examinations, my friends. And he played an important role in revolutionizing British drama, very important. See, before Shaw composed his literature, before Shaw became a popular dramatist, most of the drama of Britain drama was just sentimental kind of entertainment. But the introduction of the plays that are composed by J.B. Shaw and other, and later, which transformed promoting moral issues, political issues, economic issues, rather than only sentimental issues. That's what there was a transformation with the help of the plays composed by J.B. Shaw into moral issues, economic issues, political issues were raised through plays. It's only because of J.B. Shaw. Next. And in this, he considered himself indebted to Henry Gibson, and he believes that he was able to write plays to talk about moral issues, political issues, economic issues, because, and his inspiration was Henry Gibson, Anton Chekhov, very important writers. Anton Chekhov, Henry Gibson, very popular dramatists. They brought a lot of revolutions in terms of drama. They believed that a drama can be produced in 3 acts, 4 acts. According to classical, drama can be produced in 5 acts. According to Elizabethan, 5 acts. According to neoclassical, 5 acts. But according to Henry Gibson and Anton Chekhov, a drama can be produced in 3 or 4 acts. That was followed by J.B. Shaw. Next, pioneered modern realistic drama, and that's why social comedies, social plays, which are also called realistic plays. Next, meaning drama designed to heighten awareness of some important social issues. What Charles Dickens, W.M. Thackeray, Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and wrote in terms of novel to expose the social issues, domestic issues, political issues of the Victorian period in the form of fiction or prose. He did the same in terms of drama, hence their novels are realistic novels, his plays are realistic plays, realistic drama. Their novels are social novels, his plays are social comedies. Same issues, but the means of producing was different. They chose drama and they chose novel, he chose drama as a means. Significantly, Widower's Hour is an example of the realistic genre completed after William Archer's Shaw's Friend, written The Quintessence of Ibsenism, very important one. The Quintessence of Ibsenism is a popular essay composed by J.B. Shaw. Next, from 1904 to 1907, several of his plays had their London premieres, and his plays were produced in Royal Court Theatre. In which theatre and were his plays produced? The Royal Court Theatre, London. Very important. The theatre, the public theatre, the King's Men, the Chamberlain's Men, the Blackfriars theatres. There are plenty of names. Sometimes there are bits based on these theatres. So there may be a bit in which theatre were the plays of Shaw performed. The Royal Court Theatre, London. Remember this. And the owners and Harley Granville, Barker and J. Vandren. Franz Leher and not required. Shaw's outlook was changed by the World War I, very important one, which he uncompromisingly opposed despite incurring outrage from the public as well as from many friends. Usually catastrophes like wars change your attitude, and entered the world today. And we have a lot of problems due to COVID-19. It brought a lot of changes, our mindset, our attitude and everything. And in the same way, World War did among many people. So he says that World War I shattered his hopes, changed his attitude. Next, and that attitude, the change of his attitude, and which he implemented in terms of writing his plays and during 1910, 1920. and Heartbreak House, which is all about the impact, the influence of World War I on G.B. Shaw, on the common people, on the society, which is exposed in the play Heartbreak House. He had previously supported gradual democratic change towards socialism. Himself, we can consider G.B. Shaw as a socialist, as a communist. And in 1921, Shaw completed Back to Methuselah and his Metabological Pentateuch. Next, see, Back to Methuselah is considered to be the last kind of stage of his plays. Okay, and the massive 5-play work starts with the Garden of Eden. This back to Methuselah, which starts with the Garden of Eden, which becomes a part of the Bible and many other books thousands of years ago. This Back to Methuselah, which deals with the thought life force, directs evolution towards ultimate perfection by trial and error. Very important one, my friends. You will become perfect only when you make mistakes and learn from those mistakes. It is not possible. There are a lot of great people, they become great only by making a number of mistakes. I have seen a lot of my students who failed in 2008, 2012, 2014, 2008, 2018, still they are struggling to become teachers, to become government employees. So you will have, and what is required to you, you should not lose your life force. Life force is nothing but your determination, your self-control, your self-reliance and your willpower, which is very important, so that you will be evolved what you want to be. I can become what I want to be if I have strong willpower. This strong willpower, according to G.B. Shaw, is considered to be life force. There is a purpose in this world for this body, this identity. There is something in this world. Shaw who believed that for the creation of everything, there is some kind of purpose. If you understand that, you will achieve what you want to be. That is considered to be life force, my friends. So you need to give priority. What do you get? What do you get if you die at the age of 20 by committing suicide, if you are not able to get a government job at the age of 30? You can also work something and you can get life. You will have some kind of identity and you can lead your life for more than 50 or 60, 70 or 80 years. But what are you going to do by taking away your life? If you fail in studies, if you fail in marriage, if you fail in profession, if you fail in society, if you fail in politics, nothing is going to impact you if you have strong life force, strong willpower, according to G.B. Shaw. Very important one. And it is not required to know the aspects that are written on your fate, on your hand. It is your life force that is going to change your fate, according to Shaw. Where he talks about not just Back to Methuselah, which deals with life force. Every play of Shaw deals with certain kind of inspiration. Next, the theme of a benign force directing evolution reappears in Geneva whenever Shaw maintaining human must see. Very important dialogue. Humans must develop longer lifespans in order to acquire the wisdom needed for self-government. Very important one. Humans must develop longer lifespan. You need to wait. If you are not able to get the job in 2018, wait for 2021. If you don't, wait for 2020 to 23. That is very important, because if you wait only, you will be able to understand the wisdom. You will get a lot. Most of the students, without any hurdle, if they get success, they don't enjoy the real aspects of the success. But if you have a lot of hurdles in the process of that, if you are able to get, if you succeed at a particular time, you will have a lot of happiness, my friends. Remember, without the troubles, if you do something, there is nothing. But with the troubles, with the difficulties, if you achieve something, you will have strong life force, and your works will be more productive and you will enjoy the wisdom that you wanted to see in the world, according to G.B. Shaw. Next, Methuselah was followed by St. John, another important play that you are going to read as part of your syllabus. St. John, published in 1923, which generally considered to be one of the better works, deals with Joan of Arc, who is the characters. Joan of Arc, 19-year young French girl. She was captured by the British Army, and after having certain trials, and she was burned to death. After her death, 30 years of that, she comes out and becomes the God, the child of the Almighty Jesus. That's what the story all about. For writing this, he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature, my friends. See, and apple cart later. Next, there are some more plays. Next, we will talk about his last significant play. These are also not required. Not required, I think so. And he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature and Contribution to Literature in 1923. Next, at the time, Prime Minister David Lloyd George was considered commending the King Shaw's admission to Order of Merit. After he was awarded Nobel Prize for Literature, the British government also wanted to honor him with Order of Merit, but unexpectedly this Order of Merit was given to J.M. Barrie. Because of this, Shaw was disturbed, did not support the Britain government and neglected, and again the Britain government requested him to take the Order of Merit, and it took 21 years to convince him to receive the Order of Merit. Okay, because of his refusal, and rejected knighthood also. He also rejected knighthood, because usually after awarding Nobel Prize, is it a good thing to award somebody a knighthood? No, that's what he rejects. Next, in 1946, and he was awarded Order of Merit to be made by the government. And Shaw was awarded Oscar, very important, my friends. The only English writer who was awarded both Oscar and the Nobel Prize for Literature, J.B. Shaw. A very important bit this is. And for writing the play Pygmalion, Oscar, but Nobel Prize, St. John, remember this too. And same title was adapted. Next, and it was shared by these writers. Next, political, social and religious views. What are the political views, social views, religious views? Social classes strove to serve its own ends. The upper and middle classes won in the struggle while working class lost. And same thing that he says, working class were the people who lost their hopes due to certain changes brought by the Britain government. And he believed, and see, the long-lived supermen with experience and intelligence enough to govern properly. That's what he says. You need to lead your life longer time. If you lead your life for a longer time, what will happen? Long-lived supermen with experience and intelligence, because you will have a lot of experience. You will have a lot of experience and intelligence that will help poor people to lead their life happily. So he says, improve your longevity of your lifespan. He thought it was driven by life force that led women subconsciously to select the males most likely to give them superior children. Okay, so life force is very important for us. Shaw was an active Fabian. He was associated with the group Fabian. Next, it's a group like Raymond's Club, Irish Dramatic Theatre. He wrote many of their pamphlets, and where he was able to independent social journal, different journals he contributed essays. And popular plays, only will talk about the most important plays. And Widower's House is first important one. Mrs. Farren's Profession, Arms and the Man, very important. Next, you can see Caesar and Cleopatra, very important. Caesar and Cleopatra, which is composed by and J.B. Shaw. Antony Cleopatra was composed by Shakespeare. Remember, confused title. Antony Cleopatra, Shakespeare. Caesar and Cleopatra, J.B. Shaw. Both are plays. Both are Roman plays based on the history of Rome. Next, Man and Superman. So what is the difference between man and Superman? Man will have ordinary willpower, but Superman will have life force, and so that he will have a lot of intelligence, creativity, and will be an asset to the common people to lead their life, to overcome their problems. And Major Barbara, very important one. The Doctor's Dilemma, getting married and some of the other important plays. And St. John 1923, very important my friends. Next, there is nothing in this, and you can see, and Pygmalion. Pygmalion, there is a character like Mrs. Warrens. Pygmalion, there is a character like Professor Higgins. Professor Higgins, he reprimands the students to learn English, and he also says that one of the themes of this Pygmalion is language, mainly English language. He emphasizes students in the process of learning English, very important, because if you learn English only, Jesus will be able to listen to your prayers, because Jesus knows only English, not any other language. These are the false ideas conveyed by Professor Higgins to his students, and one of the students questions and Professor Higgins that Jesus spoke Hebrew, not English. So don't lie, don't talk about false things in the classroom, talk real things. So this character indirectly talks about how English people imposed English language in the world, among the second or third world countries. How they imposed study of English among the people. That's what the creation. Next, Heartbreak House and Back to Methuselah. Next, popular novels composed by J.B. Shaw. You can see, my friends, Immaturity, Casual Baron's Profession, and Unsocial Socialist, Irrational Note, Love Among the Artists. 5 plays, 5 novels, and 4 popular essays. A manifesto, What Socialism Is, Quintessence of Ibsenism, very, very important. Several times it was asked. The quintessence of Ibsenism is composed by J.B. Shaw. Preface to Major Barbara. And we need to understand, he was the only writer who wrote lengthy prefaces to his plays. There was also a bit, who was the only dramatist who usually wrote lengthy prefaces to his plays. Preface, the sentences, the actual sentences for writing the play, the reasons for writing the play, intentions of the writer, intentions for creating the characters of the play before the actual play is nothing but preface. And he had the habit of writing lengthy prefaces to his plays, and his plays were just 29 pages, but preface was 67 pages. Like that is the habit of J.B. Shaw. And remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel Venkanna English Guru, and also be a part of our Telegram group Venkanna English Guru Telegram group, so that instead of maintaining 5, 6, 10 WhatsApp groups, we will maintain only one Telegram group or channel, which will be very useful. Become a part of the Telegram channel and be a member. And we will be talking about other writer, Robert Louis Stevenson. Robert Louis Stevenson, a popular Scottish writer, and see 1850-1894, Edinburgh, died in 1894. Scottish novelist, poet, essayist, travel writer during Victorian period. And he married Fanny Osborne, but very lengthy name, Fanny Osborne. And when he fell in love, this lady was 20 years elder to him, and he had some healthy issues during his childhood, and hence, and she was a popular nurse at the time who took care of him, and he fell in love with that lady and married her, who was 21 years elder to him. And he also wrote a poem on falling in love when he fell in love with that lady. They married in 1880 and died of apoplexy, cerebral hemorrhage, and some kind of brain disease. Margaret and Barbara and Thomas Stevenson parents, and he had a pen name Tusitola, which means teller of tales. This is the pseudonym of Robert Louis Stevenson. Next, what is the style of style of R.L. Stevenson? And follows Scottish tradition, as he was a Scottish, followed Scottish tradition, and Scots vernacular language is used. Charming, dexterous, deep regard for his native land, Scotland, lowland, and gives a lot of importance for plot rather than characters. Characters are not important, style is not important, theme, idea, thoughts are very important according to R.L. Stevenson, Robert Louis Stevenson. And climate that seized is chronically diseased lungs, as he had usually in Scotland most of the people died due to lung problems, and he was able to die because of that particular problem, and spent time in France and became because of ill health. Next, what are the popular poems? Collection of poems. As a whole, he composed 4 collections of poems. I have used a code called Cubs, Church Garden of Verses, Underwood's Ballads, Songs of Travel and other poems. So, Child's Garden of Verses, Underwoods, Ballads and Songs. Usually as part of some examination, there are 2 poems that are usually read, The Swing and My Shadow, as a part of school level. So, The Swing, it's about flying, childhood. Next, at the same time, My Shadow, about a childhood. It is the 37th poem and the Child Garden of Verses. It is taken from this collection. And he is the writer of many important historical novels, Gothic novels, my friends. See, An Inland Voyage, Travels with a Donkey in the Cevennes, Virginius Durick, The New Arabian Nights, very important this is. And Treasure Island, very important novel this is, Treasure Island. Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, several times these were asked, that I am underlining. And Kidnapped, it's a sequel I think so. Historical novel, The Black Arrow, historical novel with Scotland. The Master of Ballantrae and Catriona, The Way of Hermiston, the last unfinished novel composed by R.L. Stevenson. Some of the popular important novels, Arabian Nights and New Arabian Nights, Treasure Island, Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, 2017, Andhra Pradesh DL bit. The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is written by, remember my friends, 2 marks, 1 bit, changes your fate. People lost their jobs only because of 2 marks. And you can see the popular novels. Okay, this is with regard to R.L. Stevenson, this is with regard to Victorian period, and so far we have been talking about Victorian period and we have closed Victorian period. And if you have any queries and doubts, we will clarify in the next class. We will start poetry terms of English literature. In the next class, we are going to talk about what are the terms. Okay, all that information we will have a long discussion with regard to. So far we have discussed only history. Next we will talk about prosody, meter, stanza forms, figurative expressions, poetry forms, drama forms, novel forms. All that we will have a discussion. Okay, right? We will meet tomorrow in the same time. I will intimate you through our app. Right. Thank you. Amma.